There has been quite the amount of work done back here, and you could say we've just about reached the halfway point. The deck is finished, so it's time we turned our focus towards the more physically demanding part, the patio. Not only did we have to lay the surface area with stones, we had a small retaining wall to build, as well as a walkway connecting the front yard to the back. With all that work ahead of us, we got right to it, starting with giving the patio area one last grade to ensure everything was level. And this is what we were up against. Every piece of stone that was going to be used arrived, and it was anything but enticing. And to make it that much sweeter, there was only two of us to move it all. For the patio design, the black stones are for the border, and these gray ones are for the main area. These gray blocks are for the retaining wall, these stones are for the cap, and the step for the deck. These large gray ones will be for the walkway on the side of the house. Before we began the backbreaking work, we got the string lines out to find our starting point. This was to make sure our patio would be square and gave us a reference line to follow. Once we were set and had our starting point, we got to lay in the first row of border stone. Our method here was to lay the border stone in two opposite directions so it gave us a nice square edge to follow. We simply used the string line as our edge, making sure that the stone was just barely touching it so we knew that we were going in a straight line. But as a reassurance, we'd sight it with our eye line and check with a level just to make sure nothing was out of whack. Looking at the footage now, it looked kind of funny using the dolly to transport stone, but it was actually elite, especially for the black stone. We did use the wheelbarrows for the majority of it though. With the border mostly set, we started laying the main gray patio stones. The stones came in three sizes, a large rectangle, a square, and a small rectangle. The game plan here was to lay it randomly while avoiding any of the same stones being next to each other, as well as making sure we broke up any lines that started to form. It was pretty straightforward, so we started to fly through it. Each row that we laid acted as a guide for the next. And since we took our time on the border stone getting it all straight and square, we were able to keep a consistent pace without stopping much. We've made pretty good progress, and as you can see, we've made a good dent in the pallets of stone on the driveway. If you've enjoyed the video so far, make sure to subscribe and drop a like as it'll help out the channel a lot. I have a ton more exciting projects lined up that you won't want to miss. It ended up taking us about half a day, and this was a result after all the blood, sweat, and no tears. I know this video says day 4, but we had to finish off the next day, so technically this patio was a 2-day job. Yeah, that's right, I lied. Shoot me. We got started with the first row of retaining wall stone. It was going to be 2 blocks high plus a stone cap on top. It was pretty straightforward since we had the patio stones to follow, which hypothetically gave us a straight line if we didn't somehow manage to go out a square. We may have just a tad, but I won't tell anyone. We used a string line here too, just to ensure everything was straight. And after checking to make sure the blocks were level, we added the second row, which took us no time at all. Last up were these black stone caps. I'm just realizing now I forgot to film us adding them, but you'll see the result shortly. Here's one that I broke though. Once we finished the wall, we had this small jog out area of the patio we had to complete. This edging was then added around the perimeter, and now it was time for the sand. We then use the hose to wet the sand so that it binds and hardens once it dries. This essentially just locks everything together. The step was then added in, but we still have the fascia or the skirting left to install on the deck, so this will end up moving again. A stone cap had to be cut, so we left this until the end. We glued them all down to attach these in place once we were happy with everything. Now it was finally time to add more soil and grade the grass area to prep it for sod. And that's a wrap on day 4. This backyard has finally started to come together and is basically 90% done. The transformation back here has been unreal, as you can already tell by how much work has gone into it. Come back for day 5 to see the final transformation as we complete the remaining tasks like the garden, the grass, the privacy fence, and the walkway. Thanks for watching until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.